This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. It is Friday, October 25th. I'm Ephraim Graham. We begin this half hour in California. Fire season has shifted into high gear, and it's taking a devastating toll. Up to 50,000 people have been forced out of their homes by raging flames. As Jennifer Wishon now reports, there's no end in sight.
In Southern California, parched land, hot temperatures, and 40-mile-per-hour Santa Ana winds are fueling this beast of a blaze.
We have zero containment on the fires.
The so-called tick fire has forced as many as 50,000 people to flee their homes. These horses run frantically as flames dance around them. Firefighters had to cut their way into this daycare center after embers landed on the roof and ignited the building. In Northern California's Sonoma County, famous for its world-renowned wines, the entire community of Geyserville, home to about 900 people, has been evacuated as the so-called Kincaid fire engulfed more than 15 square miles.
They were really, get out now. Grab your keys and your dogs and go.
Here, firefighters drive through a tunnel of flames as they work against the odds.
We just can't keep ahead of it. We're almost just chasing it and trying to get ahead of it.
For weeks, California power companies have been cutting power preemptively in an effort to prevent electrical fires. Pacific Gas and Electric says a jumper on one of its transmission towers broke close to where the fire started near Geyserville. The company is investigating but isn't accepting responsibility since officials aren't sure yet exactly how the fire started. And as the weekend approaches, firefighters are facing worse conditions as they brace for wind gusts topping 70 miles per hour. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News.
Turning overseas now, Turkey continues a barrage of drone strikes against targets in northeast Syria. Dave Eubank of the Free Burma Rangers says people are afraid to go outside for fear of attacks. His team is helping to rescue and treat the wounded.
It's 25 October 2019 here southeast of Ras Al Ain. Turkish drone strikes every day. Last night killed one, wounded three. We evacuated one. This man here hit badly. Our medics are working on him. He said that dogs tried to come and eat his stomach last night. Right here is the other man wounded. We're getting ready to transport them back to Tel Tamer Hospital, and Lord, may they live in Jesus' name. Amen.
Heartbreaking. Even after President Donald Trump announced U.S. troops would leave Syria, the head of the Syrian Democratic Forces said Trump told him they would stay. And the Wall Street Journal reported the U.S. may leave some troops and even send battle tanks to protect the oil fields in eastern Syria. The apparent change in U.S. policy encouraged U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, a vocal critic of the president's decision to leave Syria.
If we can get a safe zone that protects the Kurds from Turkey and vice versa, that would be good. That'd actually be historic. If you can find a way to secure the oil from Iran and ISIS, that's in our national security interest. You got to have a competent force on the ground to make sure that Kurds do not feel abandoned and ISIS doesn't come back. If you do all those things, it ends well. If you don't, it's going to end poorly. So let's judge the president by the final product. The adjustments he's made so far are encouraging, but we're not there yet.
And joining us now to talk more about the situation in northeast Syria and what's happening in Israel is Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell. So, Chris, are we seeing mixed messages coming out of the White House?
It would seem that way, Ephraim. I mean, we heard from the General Mazloum that he had a long talk with President Trump and said that the SDF, that he would stay with the Syrian Democratic Forces for a long time. And that's certainly not what he said a few days ago in the White House when he said all the troops would be going out. First, they were going out to Iraq. Then there was an idea that some would stay in eastern Syria to protect the oil fields and to prevent a resurgence of ISIS. But we are hearing these mixed messages. I know the latest messages would be very encouraging to people that think there is a U.S. presence that needs to stay there to help preserve the Syrian Democratic Forces and what's left of the Syrian Democratic Council, that government that had been formed there. So for some, this could be a very encouraging sign, and we'll see what happens in the next several days.
Indeed. So what are you hearing about the plight of Christians in the region?
Well, earlier we heard from the Syrian Union, and they put out a statement that said they are warning of a genocide and ethnic cleansing by the Turkish government and their allies. The allies, as we have talked about before, are the Free Syrian Army. And I was just looking at video just a little while ago, Ephraim, where you saw the Free Syrian Army taking over a large town called Ras Al-Ain. And basically, all the people have left there, and they are now being taken over by these Turkish allies. So that's ethnic cleansing in action. And so that's what these Christians are warning against. And they're asking the Christians around the world to pray. And I would encourage any pastors that are listening right now on your Sunday services to go ahead and pray for these people. I think that's exactly what they're looking for. Practically, many of these Christians, we've talked to some of them by text and by phone. It's hard for them to get money. There's no ATMs, there's no banks, sometimes no food. So really, they need provision, and it's very hard for them, as well as the nearly 200,000 people that are displaced right now in northeast Syria.
Indeed. So, Chris, what is the latest, as we're following another big story, of course, what's the latest in Israel as it comes to trying to form a government?
Well, politically right now, the president of Israel, Reuven Rivlin, has given the leader of the Blue and White Party, it's the next biggest party beside the Likud, which is Benjamin Netanyahu's, he's given him 28 days to form a government. It does seem a little bit like a political mission impossible. Benjamin Netanyahu wasn't able to form a government in his 28 days. It seems even less likely that Gantz will be able to do that. If Gantz can't form that in 28 days, then there's a possibility it will go to the Knesset when it has 21 days to form a government. That seems even more unlikely, and it looks like next March, Israelis may be going to the polls for the third time within a year.
So what can we look forward to this evening on Jerusalem Dateline?
Well, Ephraim, first of all, we're going to be looking at the latest in northeast Syria, the plight of the Christians, and what the U.S. policy is. We'll also be talking with a lawyer about the culpability of U.S. troops in the region to prevent any possible genocide. We also have two other stories. First of all, an archaeological story about this Byzantine church that we discovered just about 30 miles from here where I'm standing right now. Great story. And also Love in the Face of ISIS, a book that has been written about how to pray for the crisis in the Middle East. We'll have that as well on this week's Jerusalem Dateline. Looking forward to that. I'm going to let you know at home that you can watch Jerusalem Dateline this evening on the CBN News Channel. It's going to begin at 9:30 Eastern. Chris, thank you. A wake and funeral planned today in Baltimore for the late Congressman Elijah Cummings.
If I can do.
A memorial was held at the U.S. Capitol Thursday for Cummings. Congressional leaders, including House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, spoke at the ceremony. Pelosi remembered his work in the House, and McConnell remembered him taking to the streets in Baltimore to urge protesters to be calm and to go home following the 2015 death of Freddie Gray, who died in police custody.
Elijah Cummings, Master of the House.
Let's go home. Let's all go home. Now, our distinguished colleague truly has gone home.
Cummings' body lied in state for public viewing after the service. Cummings died from health problems he'd suffered for some time. Evangelist Franklin Graham says he cannot believe the city of San Francisco is blacklisting states with pro-life laws. He posted a report by Fox News that says San Francisco city employees are forbidden to take work trips or do business with companies in 22 states that have what they interpret as restrictive abortion laws. Graham referenced a quote by San Francisco Mayor London Breed, who said they are, quote, sending a message to states that disregard the right to abortion. Graham wrote, progressive socialist leaders like Mayor Breed want everyone to swallow the lie that abortion is a woman's right, even something to celebrate, but it is not. Abortion is murdering a child in its mother's womb. The Bible says, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. Graham referencing Isaiah 5:20 there. Popular opinion reflects a growing threat to free speech in America. A new poll shows a majority of Americans believe the First Amendment should be rewritten to, quote, reflect the cultural norms of today. The poll by the Campaign for Free Speech reveals nearly 60% of millennials, those 21 to 38 years old, believe the Constitution goes too far in allowing hate speech in America. 48% of Generation X and 47% of baby boomers agreed. A majority of millennials also said hate speech should be a crime, with more than half of those saying it should carry jail time. About 60% of respondents also want to curb freedom of the press, saying government should be able to take action against media outlets that publish biased, inflammatory, or false content. Coming up, undercover video shows Planned Parenthood and other abortion industry players did wrong, but the pro-life groups who produced the video are being sued in court. We got the story.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
And ministering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News. Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
A federal civil trial in San Francisco could be the biggest pro-life case in 20 years. Planned Parenthood is suing the Center for Medical Progress founder David Daleiden and others for producing undercover videos showing workers discussing the gathering and sale of baby body parts. The videos sparked national outrage and congressional investigations, while findings of illegal actions by abortion providers and fetal tissue procurement companies. The American Center for Law and Justice is part of the legal team for the pro-life defendants. CBN's Wendy Griffith spoke with the ACLJ's Jordan Seculo about the case.
Jordan, Planned Parenthood fought hard to keep those videos from being shown in court. What are they afraid of?
Yeah. Planned Parenthood, since those videos were released years ago, has done everything they can to make sure they never get seen again. So they have made sure to, take them offline, and they've got this order in court. And they got the judge to agree, actually, initially, that, well, the jury, this is a jury trial. It's a civil case, but a jury trial. And our client could face penalties, financial penalties in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, very serious trial here. But initially, the judge agreed, yeah, we don't want to make this case about abortion, so let's not have the jurors see the videos. But Planned Parenthood's attorney made a fatal error. So after getting what they wanted, which was even keeping the videos from the jurors themselves, not the public, but the jurors, they then brought up as a witness one of the defendants. And the defendant was asked by Planned Parenthood why, the Planned Parenthood attorney, why did you do this? Why did you take this action? And they said it was to expose what they believed was illegal practices by Planned Parenthood by illegally altering the abortion procedures, which is a violation of law, so that they could then profit from the sale of aborted babies' body parts. When that was said in the courtroom, guess what? The judge said, we now have to show the jurors these videos. Our legal team that's there representing our client said the jurors have been shocked by what they've seen in the videos. They've been shocked by the testimony of the Planned Parenthood abortionist, like the one who said, what do you want from this on the video? And she said, a Lamborghini. And she said that was a joke. But, you know, I think Lamborghini to her, like for most people, just represents lots of money, lots of cash. I want to make a lot of money off this. So the jury is now seeing all of this, which is very good for our clients. It's horrendous. I mean, this is, think about as a journalist, this is investigative journalism under attack by an abortion provider. And it cannot be this can't be allowed to stand. It doesn't matter really what side of the issue you're on. This is about silencing speech. It's about silencing investigative journalism, which is kind of a hallmark of the freedom of the press.
Well, not only the attorneys, but the judge also worked hard to keep the videos out of the courtroom. Yeah. Why did he do that?
Listen, this is the California courts, federal courts, the Northern District of California. It's an Obama appointee. This is usually Planned Parenthood's very safe ground for them to file lawsuits like this. It's why they chose to file in California. So, again, I think that the judge went along with what we call abortion distortion. They get treated differently than any other kind of party. You know, usually if you bring a civil or a criminal, if you bring a civil complaint against someone in this situation, you've got to put all the evidence out there. So if you decide that you want to sue someone for hundreds of thousands of dollars for various different civil wrongs that you believe that you've been wronged, then you've got to put all the evidence out there so that the jury can make an honest decision. But this judge said, well, if it's about abortion, then the jurors will just make their decision based on how they feel about abortion. That's how he reasoned it. It's totally bogus claim. But it didn't hold up anyways. Ultimately, Planned Parenthood made the fatal flaw of bringing up one of the defendants here to testify. She testified very clearly about why she did what she did, going undercover to expose potential criminal activity by Planned Parenthood. And that's why Planned Parenthood has fought so hard to keep the videos under wraps, but now the jury has seen them, and I think it has changed the entire makeup of this case, which, by the way, is going to the trial will probably continue into November, and then the jury will make its decision.
All right, Jordan, real quick, 30 seconds. What would a loss for Planned Parenthood mean to the abortion industry, and do you think they're going to lose this case?
You can't ever predict a jury 100%, but I can tell you that from our team, they said they were shocked. The jurors were shocked at what they were seeing and hearing. So that's a good sign. There's obviously the appeals process here. This is the trial court, but it is a way in which we must fight for life. You know, we fight for life, the procedural fight for life to protect the unborn child. We also have to fight for pro-life speech. And this is one of those issues where you were fighting for just pro-life speech, for the ability to get out good investigative journalism, which is done all the time without issue, unless, of course, it's the abortion industry who you are trying to investigate, and suddenly the courts start treating them differently. But the judge doesn't get to make the decision here. The jurors do.
Still ahead, the Nationals lead the Astros in the World Series and create a lot of buzz, but that's not all we're hearing about when it comes to players like Juan Soto. Stay with us.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5 Wednesday night at 9:30.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
And time now for Sports Talk with Sean Brown. So let's begin with the Washington Nationals, the Houston Astros in the World Series this year. Were you surprised at the Nationals this week?
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody anticipated them making it into the World Series. I didn't think my World Series was the Dodgers and either the Yankees or the Astros. The fact that they got past the Dodgers and then swept the Cardinals, I think we're blown away. They mean business, and now we're looking at them up 2 games over the Astros. Did not see that coming.
Wow, unbelievable. Now, we've reported on the faith of some of the players like 20-year-old Juan Soto. What can you tell us about players like him who are boldly displaying their faith on this platform?
This is the biggest platform in baseball, and for a lot of these players, you're talking about Juan Soto, Victor Robles, Anthony Rendon for the Nats, and of course the Astros, George Springer, Will Harris, Jose Altuve. The list goes on for both teams. You got guys that are on the biggest stage in baseball, and there's a lot of pressure that goes along with that. The team that's going to win is the team that can reduce errors. The team that can stay focused, the team that can do what they know that they can do, and it's all about how they feel. It's all about the elements play a role. There's just so many different variables that goes into the game of baseball that determines the outcome. And so a little faith can help. You just kind of put them at ease and say, hey, let me just go out here and play the game. Obviously, the Astros have been there, in the last couple of years, so not as much pressure on them because they've already made team history. The Nationals, this is the first time this organization has ever been to the World Series. So you can imagine the amount of pressure for these players to bring a championship to D.C. And so a lot of pressure, but, relying on their faith and saying, Lord, help me be the best player I can be. Help me keep things in perspective. If it doesn't go our way, you're still on the throne. My life is still defined by who I am or who you are in me, not the game. It takes the pressure off when you can take that perspective. And when you can take off, you have that perspective, it makes it easier for them to go out and just have a good time and play the best baseball they've ever played. And so that's why faith is so important for these guys.
Indeed. I was in D.C. for the last 2 days, so I got to witness a lot of the excitement. Any predictions on what do you think, how this is going to end?
You know what, man? It's hard. The Nationals right now, up 2 games, it's hard to dig yourself out of a hole for the Astros. But they've got, home games for games 3, which starts tonight, 4 and 5. They're all in D.C. And so I can't. The Nationals could pack it up now.
I know.
I think the Astros will get 1 game. We may have to go back to Houston, but I would not be surprised if the Nats put this thing away.
Oh, I tell you, the excitement in D.C. is amazing.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. Go Nats. I'm excited.
Yes. Another story, of course, out there is the former NFL star, DeAngelo Williams, paying for more than 500 mammograms in honor of his late mother.
That is, I tell you, here's a guy who, his mother, I believe she passed away in 2004 to breast cancer. I think he lost 4 aunts as well to this disease. And he's a guy that said, you know what, I've been through this process. I'm going to create a foundation that gives back and creates, one, awareness for women. Also, I want them to, I want to take some preventative measures as well. And so paying for that makes it a little bit easier for them to get to the doctor and say, hey, let's try to catch this if it started, or let's just make sure that you're okay, because catching it early makes such a difference when it comes to this. And I commend him for his efforts. I mean,
yeah. I applaud him as well. I lost 2 aunts to cancer, so I certainly understand and identify there. Now, you've got an update on the Man of God headband and wristbands, Demario Davis, real quick.
Yeah, okay, so remember he was going to get fined $7,000. He didn't get fined. He used all the money. At one time, he had raised several thousand. Now he's up to about over 120,000 of sales of those headbands and money that he's donating to his hometown hospital. I believe it was St. Dominic Hospital in Mississippi. So he's up to over $120,000 for that organization, and mine is on its way. So he's over 120 because mine is on its way. Just so you know.
I love it. I love it. And of course, you can get more stories like this evening. Absolutely. You can catch Going the Distance with Sean Brown actually this weekend on the CBN News Channel. Saturday at 6:30, Sunday at 7:30. Both, of course, Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much. We always appreciate you being here.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Well, coming up, sad news from the Christian music industry on the death of Toby Mac's son, Truett. Stay with us. We've got details for you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead. Just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Christian pop artist Toby Mac's eldest son has died. A representative for the singer confirmed 21-year-old Truett Foster McKeon died at his home in Nashville. The Davidson County Medical Examiner's Office says the cause of death has not been determined, and they also went on to say, we ask that everyone please be respectful of their privacy during this time and allow them to grieve. Our prayers are certainly with them during this time of mourning. Time now for your Friday Faithful. It's a message I hope will add encouragement to your weekend. Remember, you are a masterpiece, a designer's original. God has made you to be you, and only you can do it. With that word, I encourage you to make today a fabulous Friday, and be sure to have a wonderful weekend. Well, that will do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. Remember, you can always find more of our CBN News programs on the CBN News Channel at any time. And, of course, you can find them online as well. That's cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here this day or this week. You can email us. The address is newswatch@cbn.com. And, of course, you can reach out and touch us on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram. Again, hope you have a fabulous Friday and a wonderful weekend. We'll see you right back here, same time come Monday. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.